Okay, so welcome everyone to our weekly televised internet broadcast, Monk Radio. Announcements for this week. Well, we just came back yesterday evening from Anuradhapura to see the Sirimangalo tree, which is a descendant from the original tree in Bodh Gaya and was actually returned back, the one that was returned back to Bodh Gaya when the one in Bodh Gaya was killed. So a very special place. And we also went to Polonnaruwa to see some ancient Buddhist sites. And I was able to give 2 talks and take 2 videos, so they went up today. If you haven't seen them, they're now on YouTube. And the workers have started now on 2 new rooms. So we're soon going to have 2 new rooms, and this evening the carpenter came, so he's going to put a roof on the meditation hall by the Bodhi tree. And then we won't be able to do our rain meditation anymore. And we'll be dry, and we'll be able to do chanting up there and so on. It'll be more certain. It'll be cool during the day, no? And we'll have a cool place during the day as well. Otherwise, Kathy's leaving tomorrow, no?
I'm going to get my visa tomorrow, hopefully, and leaving the next day.
And hopefully leaving the next day. You hear that?
I said hopefully getting the visa.
Hopefully I can leave this horrible
day.
place where they make me stay in tents and your fan got destroyed twice. No?
I have no electricity.
And you still have no electricity. So Kathy, maybe you can tell us, how was your stay here? What's this place like? Is it tolerable for meditation?
Yeah, it's very suitable for meditation, I think.
How was the tent?
The tent was excellent. So excellent monk tent.
You'd recommend it to people thinking about bringing a tent here or coming to stay in one of our tents?
Yeah, you could come and stay in the tent, close to nature, so...
And what do you think of Sri Lanka? Is this your first time in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, it's my first time in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's a beautiful country, and yeah, I don't know, I think it's a bit like, I don't know, people might not like this, but I see it a bit like a cross between Thailand and India, in that it's sort of similar scenery to India, but much more relaxed. You can feel that it's a Buddhist country. It's more of a feel like Thailand, but actually even more relaxed than Thailand. People are friendlier. I was telling you, I went to Kandy the other day, and 2 buses there and 3 buses back, and no one would let me pay for the bus. They didn't want any money from me. Yeah, very friendly people.
What did you think of Anuradhapura?
Very spiritual place, I think.
Pretty cool place. So we stayed, I didn't mention actually, I'll have to write a blog post probably. We stayed overnight in front of the Jetavana stupa. So we stayed in Jetavana, the ancient monastery of Jetavana. We actually camped out in this ruined monastery under the Chaitya. And some of the, as I mentioned in one of the videos, the people were coming by. Even during the night, they were coming by to go and pay respect to the Bodhi tree and walk right past where we were meditating. I don't know if they stopped any of you, but they stopped to talk to me and ask me where the tree was and who I was and where I was from. So one man even asked me what I think of Buddhism. And I mentioned that it's a funny question to ask of a Buddhist monk, really. What do you think? Is Buddhism a good religion? What did you think of Polonnaruwa?
Also a very interesting place. Not the parts we went to not as spiritual as Anuradhapura, but yeah, the reclining Buddha was very impressive. Has an interesting history.
So tomorrow we're going to get visa. We're going to try once more, 3rd time's the charm, to get visas for our 2 initiates. I don't know how you say applicants for ordination. Aspirants. So yeah, so if there's anyone out there who's watching this and happens to have some connection with someone who can help us, please, we're not here to do harm to the country. We're just looking to continue to practice and study and teach and spread the Buddha's teaching. And Sri Lanka is, for I think all of us are feeling that Sri Lanka is the place to do it. So we're just hoping to be able to stay and to grow our community. So that's all for announcements. Anyone have anything else to say? How's the... you want to give a summary of the construction? Yes, how's the construction going? Yes,
well, thank you. You just mentioned it. We're just having 2 new rooms made, and that's basically it at the moment. There's not much more happening, is there? Well, yeah, there is. We're doing our new path here now. So it's raining every day at the moment. And there's one part where when it rains heavily, we have problems, and hopefully that'll be done in the next 2-3 days. That's about it.
Sumedha, how's the kitchen going?
Kitchen is good.
How's well, there's not much to talk about there, no. But we're trying to set up a routine for the meditators. Can you explain the sort of things that meditators can expect if they come here, the food and the drinks and so on?
I'm trying to keep it simple, just making sure that there's enough protein. Sometimes on Alms round we don't get offered too many beans of dal or soy. They eat soybeans here, so I've started cooking some dal and soy, some beans. We've had a full house lately of meditators, and just want to make sure that people who are working hard are getting enough nutrition, just protein, and also some brown rice. We get a lot of white rice, and Westerners tend to be a bit picky towards the brown rice, more nutrition.
You should get brown rice, because we could get brown or red rice, and actually we could get a rice cooker. It'd be quite easy. That's something we didn't think of. I mean, if it is...
Polyani thought of that. She thought...
I mean, a rice cooker is so easy, and then you just put rice, push the button, and it's cooked.
Yeah, then I don't have to get up at 3:30.
You don't anyway. Don't get up. So okay, but then in the morning, what sort of things do we give to the meditators, and specifically, where do we get our food from for the meditators? You've already mentioned it, but just to make it clear, where do they get their food, and what sorts of food, and then in the evening, what can they drink, and what do we have for them to drink, and so on?
Well, so I think technically meditators are supposed to wait till sunup to eat anything besides juice or sugar water drinks. But we have made oats, quick oats. We're trying to make that sort of an available staple, but don't expect it. But we'll try to have it available. So if you want to make a breakfast of oatmeal, that should be available. And then I've been making kind of a rice congee for the monks. The Buddha allowed the monks to have some rice congee before they go on alms round, because it's quite a trek. I think today I actually timed it. It was an hour. And I guess there's a route that's even longer than that. So, yeah.
We stopped doing that one, because now we're only 2 of us, so it's our excuse for not doing that one.
Yeah. And on alms round, there's quite an assortment of. Sri Lanka seems to be into biscuits, so we get a lot of biscuits. I'm not sure if that was brought from the English or what happened.
It's a tea thing. With tea, you need to have biscuits.
Biscuits, yeah. And they put tea leaves in the food, so even though we're not supposed to have any caffeine here, we're still getting tea leaves in the food. I don't think it probably has much effect. I don't know.
But the food is fairly spicy, no? And almost entirely vegetarian. So there's a little bit of fish.
I would say that I speak for myself, but I only noticed the food being really spicy maybe the first week or two. So I'd say if you kind of stick it out, the spiciness shouldn't affect you. And no one's really been getting sick from the food, so that's a big plus.
So Palanyani. The other announcement is that Palanyani's not here because she's sick, but she has stomach problems and it's chronic, so that's more a personal thing than with the food or the water here. But if you have a weak stomach, you kind of have to put up with it. So. But it's really only been her, no? Everyone else is, sometimes there's a little bit of diarrhea, but I got that in Canada as well. It's a part of life.
And that's the other thing is the food is mostly vegetarian. They sometimes offer fish. And then some people come, almost every day people come and bring food to the monastery as well. So there's always enough food available. As Kathy would say, there's so much food. Almost every day. This is the quote of Kathy. Oh my God, so much food over.
But we're kind of concerned that the meditators may not be getting enough protein, enough. Maybe that's just a obsession of ours, but we've kind of agreed to supplement a little bit of protein. So as you already said, how about in the afternoon? What are we doing now for the afternoon?
So we also get offered a lot of local fruit since there's quite a lot of farmland around. So we've been trying to get juiced, fresh fruit juiced and strained. Has to be strained for the monks. But it's not enough. It takes quite a bit of fruit to make juice. So we're trying to buy non-sugary drinks for the meditators. No added sugar drinks. So right now we have pomegranate, 100%. It's very concentrated. And apple juice. And hopefully that'll last for a while.
Problem is that's all imported, no? So, but the point is to have something for the meditators in the afternoon. The Buddha allowed meditators to have, the monks to have fruit juice in the afternoon. So you'll find that it's just enough, no? In the afternoon, we wouldn't want to have milk or something more solid because it makes you tired and it tends to lead to extravagance and so on. But juice, you find, is just enough to keep you going, but not enough to make you intoxicated with your strength. So.
Could you, because I found this very interesting when I came here, I didn't know that there was a rule about the boiled vegetable leaves and why we don't drink tea in the afternoons here. Could you say something about that?
Well, boiled vegetables is, I think it's just too, there's too much nutrient. It becomes much like a food, or else it's just too much work to boil things. I'm not sure, but boiled vegetables are not allowed. Only fresh pressed vegetable or fruit juice is allowed. It's probably because there's too much. When you boil something, you take all the nutrients out of it, or it gains some of the particles of it. I don't know. And tea is a medicine. So you could take it if you were sick, and if there were some sickness that tea cured. But it's not a juiceable leaf. No, you can't. And I guess that's the thing, is you can't blend up tea leaves and get juice from them. So when you boil them, you're taking something out of them that you wouldn't get from a juicer. It's on a different level. And the fact that it's not for the sugar, there's no sugar in them, it's just for the drugs. Tea is for the drug that's in it, the caffeine drug. And also you can say antioxidants or whatever, but it's not the same thing. The point is to have something that has natural fruit sugars, that's allowed. We try to stay away from what they call stimulants. I think that's quite useful. I mean, when I was teaching, or when I was studying at Jamtong and with a lot of foreign meditators, I saw two meditators who, when we asked them to stay up all night, they would stock up. They would go and every hour have a cup of coffee. So they ended up having, over the course of the night, like 8 cups of coffee, and went crazy. Two meditators who actually went insane, in part because of the amount of caffeine that they had. And it's really very much against the whole point of the thing, is to push you and to try to test you and train you in this. If you're cheating and using stimulants to stay awake, it's not likely that you're going to get the results that are intended. Your mind will never be forced to develop. The cultivation of insight and mindfulness just won't be there, because you're just using stimulants to enhance your ability to stay awake, and then of course you crash in the morning. Not in the same way as caffeine. Caffeine is a steroid, I think, or it has a very chemical effect in the body. Sugar just gives energy. I mean, yeah, you could say anything's a drug. All food is, in that sense, a drug, but caffeine is on a different level, because it specifically stimulates some part of the body. I don't know. When I have caffeine, I'm perky. When I used to have coffee, I could really feel it. Suddenly I'd feel all bubbly and excited and so on. The whole body starts to kick into a higher gear. And sugar doesn't do that to me.
Sugar does that to me. Sorry. If I have sugar, I get more energy.
You have to be careful. And white sugar as well is not so good. But anyway, so this is the point, was to just talk a little bit about the sort of things that meditators can expect when they come here, and the sort of lifestyle that they'll have. And we have...
Someone asked, how do we make sure we get enough protein, and how do you exercise?
Don't worry about it. In the end, everyone dies. Sickness is a good meditation object. Malnutrition's a good thing. If you're over-nutritioned, you will overnourished, then you will give rise to all sorts of lusts and passions. Not just lust, but anger, and people will become very passionate. This is why in some religions they'll actually fast. They'll stop eating, because they think that's a spiritual practice of suppressing the defilements through not eating at all, and they'll do it for days and days, and they'll think that that's somehow beneficial to them. It's actually not. It's an extreme, and it's missing the point. You need to see the defilements. You need to understand them. You need to work out the habits involved with them, and you can't do that if you're so weak that they don't even arise. But on the other hand, you can't do it when they're so strong that you're forced to follow after them. So you have to be very careful with food, actually. My teacher always would go on and on about food and how important it is. Moderation in food is so important. Not on and on, but every day, again and again, he would bring this up. Of course, then I found out that the reason was probably because some of the monks were eating in the evening. So it was his way of hinting at them that it's not cool. But it is quite important. You shouldn't eat too little, and you shouldn't eat too much. You should eat just enough to stay alive and to function normally, and so that your emotions come up, but that they're not so strong that you can't deal with them, and you can't examine them and come to understand them. Okay.